Hey everybody, I'm here with Andrew from 10 Federal, president of 10 Federal. Now, Andrew, I'm gonna put you on the spot. We're in a very challenging self-storage environment right now with all the headwinds from interest rates, frozen housing market. But how has 10 Federal kind of gone against the narrative and had been so successful in this climate?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things that we do and our team does well, but one of the old adages in self storage is you make money on the buy. So you have to buy, right? And we use you guys for a lot of that data. Not a plug for y'all, but we use your data to go out and help us identify the deals out there in the market. And there's lots of opportunities out there still in the market. I mean, this industry is huge. So one is, we make sure that we're buying our properties right. We're not overpaying, things like that. We're going in, markets that are in high paths of growth that have good, fundamentals, and then we operate it. So we've been in this business for a while. We operate about 100 locations all over the country, and we do them very, very efficiently. And I think I would say that I have the best team in the business, and I think that's part of our secret sauce.
Now, you guys definitely have a lot of heavy hitters on board, and I love that you sort of highlighted these fundamentals as sort of your non-negotiables when acquiring new assets and running them. But I love that you plug radius, and I love data. And while data doesn't lie, it doesn't always tell the true story. And one thing that we're having some issues with in the industry is ECRIs. This kind of uncertainty about what is the real upside of a deal and how can we actually see what your in-place rates are with very confusing web rates being advertised. How have you and your team navigated this in this climate?
Yeah, I mean, we get this question a lot, and people always ask, like, what's your strategy? What do you do? What's your when you give ECRIs, things like that? And I would say we don't paint with a broad brush. So, I think with this environment, you have to take a very targeted approach, and you have to use data and all the data that's readily available. And then, we've been in business for a long time, so we've accumulated a lot of data on our own, so that when we do push through rate increases and things like that, we know what's going to happen. We track attrition and customer churn and forecasting what's going to happen, and all of that's very important to your revenue management side of your business. So I that would be my advice out there is you don't want to paint your strategy with a broad brush. You want to take a very tailored approach to depends on the property, it depends on the strategy, the market, the what's going on in that particular local 3 mile radius and things like that.
Awesome. I think that just goes back to one of the ethos of 10 Federal, sort of your relentless innovation, and that you guys have always been really good about adopting technology and trying new things to stay competitive in this space. And clearly it's worked. We've seen you guys been tremendously successful this past couple quarters. Andrew, what is your forecast for the future of self storage for the rest of the year? Where do you see the industry going? Have we bottomed out in demand? What are your thoughts?
I wish I had that crystal ball. I think everyone would love to know the answer to that question. What I could say is I'm very bullish on storage long term. I think it's a great industry. It's a fantastic industry. I wish I got into it even sooner. I think that's the sentiment from a lot of us. And I think if you look downrange, there's been, kind of truncated new supply coming in with, it's harder to develop deals. So, a lot of people are backing out. Well, we saw that during the GFC. We saw a big drop off on new deliveries, and then what that was followed by was a huge run in rental rates. So I think we're seeing kind of the same thing right now, where we saw less deliveries coming on, and for various reasons, right? Street rates were down, financing was harder to get, things like that. So developers weren't developing at the same rate. We saw abandoned jobs or abandoned development deals all over the country, and so I would say a few things. One, if you can develop, it's a great time to develop, because I think what we're going to see in the future is a lot of pent up demand that we're able to come in and help serve for our customers.
Got it. No, I love that overview. And Andrew, thank you for being so generous with your time, and best of luck with the next couple of quarters. Congrats on your success.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.